All right, I'll be posting this in YouTube and give you the link so that you can review it. All right, let me repeat what I said. This is a subject in econometrics. This might be one of your most difficult, if not the most difficult subject, research aside, thesis aside. This is actually in preparation for your thesis. What you're going to learn here are statistical models so that you're able to do statistical tests for particularly for your thesis. So this subject is also called econometrics. So we're going to learn 60% of the time will be focused on linear regression. Okay, a regression model seeks to establish the relationship between an explanatory variable and your explanatory variables and your response variables, or dependent variable and independent variable. If you only have one independent variable or explanatory variable, then it's called simple linear regression. If you have several variables that you're trying to relate to one dependent variable, we call it multiple linear regression. All right, so we're going to look at the method called ordinary least squares and also other methods in passing, MLE, maximum likelihood estimation. Okay, but the main focus will be ordinary least squares. And then we're going to also look at other models like generalized linear models like logistic regression. We're going to also look at panel data analysis and time series. So those are the main topics that we're going to discuss in this class. Just to inform you that it's not really an easy subject. So you're going to need to really hone your skills and practice. So you cannot afford just to study the lesson during class hours. You have to invest time in learning the ropes of the subject. Now, this syllabus was used last term, but we have to modify this because last term, the first 2 weeks, we had to navigate through R because most of the students did not know R yet. Now for this term, we will have a little modification about this because I am going to request those of you who were in FINTSAR under another teacher, I'm going to request you to please view some videos. Later on, we're going to discuss that so that we're going to bypass the first 3 weeks and go immediately to week 3 and 4, regression. So we're going to immediately discuss later on, after this introduction, we're going to start immediately with the topics of linear regression. Because from my experience, if we still go through the first 2 or 3 weeks learning R, we will not be able to finish the more important aspects, the more important topics in this subject. So I'll be requesting you guys, especially those who were coming from a different professor last time. As I said, kindly see me because we'll have to talk about what you need to do so that by the 3rd week, when we'd already discussed regression using R, you will already be able to follow the lessons. Okay, for now, we're going to use Excel. Okay, I'm sure all of you are familiar already with Excel. So we're going to use Excel in order to do regression analysis with cross-sectional data. I'm going to explain what cross-sectional data is. Then in this topic, we're going to look at simple linear regression. In simple linear regression, what we want is to establish or to solve for the coefficient which relates your dependent variable on your independent variable. So we're going to look at residuals, goodness of fit test. We're going to look at the concept of regression through the origin and regression on a constant and what's the difference between them. And then we're going to go next to multiple regression analysis. When you say multiple regression analysis, we're using more than one explanatory variables in trying to explain our response variable or dependent variable. Okay, so We're going to learn how to do that, how to generate multiple regression output, both using Excel, using R, using also matrix form. Okay, and then we're going to do diagnostics. We're going to look at evaluating our model, whether it's acceptable or not, making use of several diagnostic tests. Okay, part of multiple regression analysis, this is just a continuation. We're going to look at the tests, statistical tests for each of the individual parameters. We're going to look at the confidence interval. Okay, and then we're going to test the normality, whether your residuals are normally distributed or not. Okay, we're going to do the normality and non-normality test using the LM test in R. Okay, then other topics, guys, in multiple regression. Okay, we're going to look at the use of logarithms. Okay, the use of interaction terms, especially when we deal with financial data. This subject will mostly use financial data because that's what we're going to use for your paper. So might as well make use of financial data to have you to familiarize yourself with the very rich financial data that's available in the market. Okay, so we're going to also, another aspect of multiple regression is we're going to use qualitative variables. When you say qualitative variables, it means, for example, you have a data where your explanatory variable is categorical in nature. For example, gender. So you might have female or male. So it's not a quantitative variable. It's a categorical variable. So when you have explanatory variables that are qualitative or categorical in nature, how do we now use this in multiple regression? We're also going to look at dummy variables, okay? Factor variables. All right, so these things we're going to learn by weeks, hopefully by weeks 6 to 7. Okay, and then a very important topic. This is to diagnose our model if it's acceptable or not. It's what we call heteroskedasticity, where we look at the variance of the error terms. If the variance of the error terms is not constant, then we have a situation called heteroskedastic. And if that's the case, then we have to remedy that because that means that our model is not acceptable. And then we also look at specification and data issues. Okay. Then we look at time series. Okay. For time series, we look at your dependent variable is time. Okay. I'm sorry, your independent variable is time, and your dependent variable is your data that moves with time. So for example, we will take a look maybe at stock prices, the returns of stock prices, some econometric data like GNP, GDP, etc. We're going to look at those and then we're going to create a model out of them. We're going to look at these subtopics. We're going to learn how to plot your time series, look at seasonal, look at trend variations, and then learn how to decompose the series into trend, into seasonality. Okay. I know I might be talking too fast, guys. I know I might be blubbering here some details which you don't quite understand as of the moment. It's okay, guys. It's okay. I don't expect you to understand everything. This is just an introduction. Once we get to the main topic, then we're going to, I'm sure you're going to learn this introductory topics that I'm speaking about here. Then we're going to learn how to create a model for our time series. It can be an AR process. AR means autoregressive. MA stands for moving average, or a combination of both, which is called your ARIMA process, autoregressive integrated moving average. And then further to that, hopefully we're able to reach this, the ARCH process or the GARCH process, which is generalized autoregressive conditional heteroskedasticity. Okay, then most probably we'll skip first this multivariate time series and then go immediately to 11, which is your panel data regression. Panel data, guys, regression is a combination of your cross-sectional data and your time series data. I'll explain that in greater detail later. Okay, then this is what I was telling about the GLMs, the generalized linear models. We're going to look at logistic regression. Okay, maybe not multinomial, but let's see. Now, last term, we were able to finish actually up to logistic regression. We were able to do that, to finish that. Okay, any questions so far, guys?
None, sir.
None. Okay. You may if your microphone is not working, guys, you may chat. Let me check my chat dito, baka may tanong. Okay, wala naman pala. All right, so no questions so far, guys, about the syllabus. For the grading system, okay, we're going to use the LSU system. And then for the breakdown of the grades, 20% will be for the quizzes. For the recitation, we might dispense with this. We might just have a problem sets. Okay, we'll have problem sets, midterm, finals. I might just throw in recitation in some of the items here, depending on your performance. But I always grade, guys, I'm always biased to you having higher grades. So don't worry about that. Okay, but you know your responsibility, guys. As I said up front, this is not an easy subject. This is a difficult subject. So I hope immediately you already begin investing in time, okay? Because do not let the lessons pile up, because it will be more difficult, because concepts will tend to really pile up and pile up. So the easier, the more current you are as far as reviewing the lessons is concerned, the better. Okay, now we're going to make use, as I mentioned, we're going to make use of R as our software. This is the graphic interface of R. Okay, I'm going to talk to the other students who have not had any R experience. So your first assignment will be to download this R, and the window that we're going to use is R Studio. Can you see, guys? Can you see the screen? Di yata. No?
Yes,
Kita
sir.
po.
po, sir.
Pati yung R Studio kita?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
good, thank you. So for those of you who have not yet had any experience with R and R Studio, as I said, we need to talk later, because we need to discuss how you're going to prepare yourself, so that by the time we reach week number 3, at the start of week number 3, you're already ready, or you're already prepared to go with the discussion. Okay, so I also uploaded a file just now, this morning. So could you kindly open your in modules, guys? Open your Canvas. Okay, module 1, Introduction to Regression using Excel. So kindly open that file. Did you see it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is a brief review, guys, a quick review of regression. I'm not sure if my students last term in FinStud, could you kindly tell me, those of you who were with me, if we use this file?
No po.
No?
Sir, I don't think we used it po.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So that means hindi repetition to. Okay, so kindly open that. Now, before I discuss this one, there's one software that you need to add in Excel, that you need to add in, guys. And can you see the screen? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to copy this and put this in the chat box so that you may be able to copy it. Oops, wait. May yata. To everyone dapat. All right, can you see now, guys, in the chat box?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so kindly copy that URL, guys, and then it will lead you to this one, Real Statistics using Excel. Make sure that you download this. This is an add-in package for Excel. Okay, so there's add-in for, where's the one for Windows? Okay, there are instructions here. There's no distinction between Windows and Mac OS, so you can just download it. So kindly follow this, guys, and make sure you have downloaded in Excel the Real Statistics, Real Stat. Okay, it's an add-in, and it will make. There's the one for Mac here. Okay, it will make the statistical functions in Excel more powerful. So we're going to use this. All right, so let's open now the file that we're going to use now. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's start the ball rolling by looking at what regression is all about. Regression is very important. Its use is not only in statistics, but also in management and also in other fields like ecology, economics, of course, finance, business, and even in psychology, in the social sciences. Regression is very important because in regression, we seek to establish the relationship between variables. So in business, for example, it's important to learn regression. As an example, when you want to establish the relationship between two variables, for example, sales and advertising expense. So you'd like to see whether these two are related. What's the relationship between sales and advertising expense? What happens to a company's sales, for example, when advertising expense is increased? What might happen to sales? So when you're trying to establish relationships between variables, in that instance, advertising expense and sales, then you use a powerful method called linear regression. Okay? When you say regression, you would want to predict a particular variable called your dependent variable when another variable, your independent variable, changes. So any change in your independent variable would lead to a change in your dependent variable. Notice, guys, that I carefully crafted my statement. I did not say costs. So we're not saying here that advertising expenditures causes sales. We're not saying that, okay? We're not establishing causality here, but simply correlation. We're establishing the relationship between two variables, whether it's positive or negative. What do I mean by positive relationship? When I say positive relationship, when one variable increases, the other variable also increases. When I say when one variable decreases, the other variable also decreases. That's what we call a positive relationship. Ergo, they move in the same direction. When one goes up, the other goes up. When one goes down, the other goes down. Okay, so that's what we mean by positive relationship. On the other hand, a negative relationship means opposite direction. When one of the variable goes up, the other variable goes down. Okay? Got this, guys? Okay, is that clear? All right. So we can look at several topics or subjects where management or where people try to establish the relationship between variables. And when you try to do that, you use a model called linear regression. Of course, we're going to dig deeper and indicate why it's called linear. Okay, another example, for example, is how about the use of credit cards? Is there a relationship between the use of credit cards and household income? Or how about education? So here we're trying to partner, we're trying to find the association or the relationship between the amount spent in credit card and also household income and also education. So here you have two variables that we're trying to use to predict your credit card usage. In the first case, you only have one independent variable, which is your advertising expense, and one dependent variable, which is your sales. So this is what we call your simple, okay, sorry for this, simple linear regression. Okay, on the other hand, if you have, this is simple. Why is this simple? Because you only have one independent variable, one explanatory variable, and one dependent variable or response variable. Now, in this case, in the next example, you're trying to explain your credit card usage based on two variables. And your variables are household annual income and education. So is there a relationship between household annual income and credit card usage? If the household income increases, does it necessarily mean that your credit card use also increases? So is there a relationship? Is there an association? Is there a correlation between these two variables? Okay, take note, I didn't say household annual income causes, okay, amount spent on credit card. In regression, we're not establishing causality. We're establishing relationship, we're establishing association, we're establishing correlation, and not causality. I hope I have really underscored that. Okay, here you have two variables, household annual income and education. In that case, guys, this is what we call a multiple, okay, sorry, multiple linear. Okay. So if you have more than one explanatory variable, okay, then that is a case of what we call multiple linear regression. Household annual income, is it related with credit card usage? And also education, is it related with credit card usage? So those are the two variables we're looking at. And then there's another example. For example, in medicine also makes use of, in the field of the health sciences. So people have tried to estimate or to predict whether an individual is susceptible to stroke based on the age, based on the BP, and based on a characteristic whether that person smokes or not. Okay, so this is another example of a multiple linear regression. Okay, and again, we're not saying here that age, blood pressure, and smoking causes stroke. Okay, we're just establishing, we're just trying to establish whether there's a relationship between these variables, these explanatory variables, which is age, blood pressure, and smoking, with your dependent variable stroke. Okay, clear so far, guys? Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right, please tell me if I'm going too fast, no? Anyway, naka-record naman to, and if you want to review the recording, it's okay, it will be made available to you. I'm going to post it in YouTube. YouTube. Okay, now in linear regression, where we have two or more variables, we will only have one dependent variable. and one or several independent variable. Take note, guys, only one dependent variable. Okay? If there are several dependent variables, then we will have to make use of other statistical methods. Only one dependent variable and one or more independent variable. So we said that independent variable, there are different names for that. Dependent variable may be called response variable. Okay? It's also called response variable. And the dependent variable can also be called explanatory. Explanatory. Okay. So several names to denote your dependent and independent. Oops. Explanatory and response. Okay. All right. So here is an example. Okay, you have two variables here, your weekly ad expense and weekly sales. So is there a relationship between weekly ad expense and weekly sales? Okay, so for this one, is there a relationship between credit card usage and annual income and education? Okay, those are the things that we're going to look into later on. Okay, so just some notes about regression analysis. So I said a while ago that in regression analysis, it's a statistical procedure where we try to establish an equation. How do you establish a relationship? It's in the form of an equation. So if we're going to describe the relationship between two or more variables, then we use an equation to denote that relationship. But that's why it says here, we're going to develop an equation showing how two or more variables are related. Okay, it allows us to build a regression analysis will allow us to build a model or an equation to describe the relationship. So that's the first intention. Okay, it's to describe the relationship. And secondly, to estimate and to predict your dependent variable. Okay, so those are the two main things why we engage in regression analysis. Number one, we'd like to understand more your dependent variable, your response variable. We'd like to understand it more. And then we will be using your explanatory variables or your independent variable in trying to describe your dependent variable. Is that clear, guys? Just a second. Okay, clear yan, guys? Hello, guys, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so importante to guys, describe and estimate and predict. Okay? Yun ang dalawang objectives natin, bakit tayo naglilinear regression. Okay, bakit tayo naglilinear regression? Gusto natin, wait. Do all of you understand Filipino, guys? Anyone here who does not understand Filipino? Okay, none. Okay, good. So why do we engage in regression, guys? Because we want to describe. We want to understand more. What are the factors that are related, are associated with this, with your dependent variable? So you're trying to describe your dependent variable. And secondly, you'd like to predict your dependent variable. So given your independent variable, what will be the value of your dependent or response variable? Okay, so this is how the entire process will look like. Okay, of course, first we plot the data. We try to establish if there's a relationship between them by plotting the data. Okay, and then we create an equation. We create a model, a regression model, and try to see if there's a statistically significant relationship between these variables. Okay, and try to assess. This is now where diagnostics will come into play. And then we use statistical inference to see if there's a a significant relationship between them. And after that, if we have established that indeed there's a statistical significant relationship between them, then we can predict already the equation. We can predict the dependent variable given your independent variable. Okay, this one, guys, I already mentioned that regression analysis does not prove causality. It does not show a cause and effect relationship. It helps us to create a model, yes. It helps us to create a relationship, yes. It helps us to describe the dependent variable, yes. Okay, and what are these for? In order for us to be able to predict your dependent variable. Okay, so for simple regression, guys, I said that we're going to use simple regression where you have one dependent variable and one independent variable. Okay, and the method that we're going to use is later, it's what we call OLS. I'll explain that in greater detail. So why is it linear regression, guys? Can it be a curvilinear regression? Yes, there's such a thing as a curvilinear regression. And we use that, guys, if the relationship between your variables are nonlinear. So that's why it's important for us to plot first your data set to try to see what kind of a relationship do your two or more variables have. If we see that the relationship is more linear, approximately linear, then we use linear regression. If we see that the relationship is more curvilinear, polynomial, or it's not linear, then we will be mistaken if we use linear regression. We will have to use other forms of regression like curvilinear regression if the relationship between the variables are nonlinear. Okay? This I have mentioned already, simple linear and multiple linear regression when we have several independent variables and one dependent variable. Okay, so there's what I mentioned, curvilinear. We will cover this a bit, no? But not in great detail. We'll have an example of curvilinear regression just to compare it with your linear regression. Okay, any questions, guys? Any questions?
None,
None,
sir.
sir.
Okay, kamusta yung speed ko? Am I going too fast? Pag nag-ano ka, guys, when I explain, and there's a particular topic which you feel you did not get, or you feel I was quite very fast in explaining, please interrupt me, guys. You have the authority to unmute yourselves and ask a question about it. Okay, please don't be ashamed. We're a small class, guys. Maliit lang tayo na klase, which I'm happy about. Konting-konti lang tayo, 18 or 19, I think. And I'll be able to really focus on you, your individual concerns. Mas maganda nga, guys, kaysa yung 40 tayo, mahihirapan kasi ako pag ganun. Here, we're not even 20. So I'm happy with the turnout of the size of the class. All right. So there being no questions, guys, let's open our first worksheet, 1A. All right. So you have this. Okay, we're going to now study two variables, weekly sales and your weekly ads. In regression, the x-axis will be your independent variable and your y-axis will be your dependent variable. So here we're trying to establish the relationship between weekly sales and your ad expense. So we'd like to know what will happen to sales if we increase, for example, weekly ads by, let's say, in this case, these are dollar figures. So if we increase weekly ads by $1, what will happen to weekly sales? Take note, guys, that I did not say weekly sales causes, okay? Causes weekly ads causes weekly sales. What I'm saying is that there's an association. Is there an association or a relationship between your weekly ads and your weekly sales? So much so that if there's a change of $1 in weekly weekly ads, what will be the change also in weekly sales? So is it a positive relationship, which means that an increase in one variable will also lead to an increase in the other variable? Or a decrease in one variable will lead to a decrease also in the other variable? That's positive relationship. Or negative relationship, which means an increase in one variable will result to a decrease. Okay, so opposite yung yung change, no? Okay, so let's start first with the first question here is to use a data analysis tool pack of Excel in order to generate your descriptive statistics. Okay, descriptive statistics. So let's do that first, guys. Let's do that. So may I suggest, guys, that you create a copy of this worksheet so that you work on the copied worksheet and then preserve the original one, so that if you want to practice, guys, you may still make use of the of this one. So how do you create a shortcut? Shortcut in Excel, shortcut in copying this worksheet will be, anyone, guys? The long way is to right click and then move or copy. Okay, that's one way to copy the worksheet, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to, please, are you here already, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, then, may nagmamak ba sa inyo?
Meron po, sir. Ako.
Okay, patulong lang, guys, sa yung mga nagmamak, pakisabi kung ano kasi I'm using a PC. So baka iba yung ano sa Mac. Usually magkaiba yung command sa Mac, no? So I'm going to press,
Okay po, sir.
thank you, no? I'm going to press Control and sa Mac yata command. And then with the arrow here, kita niyo arrow, guys, sa baba. Right click, tapos makikita niyo yung parang may bagong worksheet na yan, no? Kita niyo yan? Okay, may plus. And then just drag it here. There. Okay, nag-create na siya ng bagong copy. Pakisubukan nga, guys. Tapos yung mga Mac, pakisabi sa akin kung paano nyo ginawa. I think it's command.
Sir, command right click po ba, sir?
Yeah,
Or
command right click. Then you should have that Tama ba na Mac users?
Parang hindi po gumagana sa
Hindi
akin.
gumagana. Sorry,
Sir, di po ba left?
Ha?
Di ba left click po?
Sorry, left click pala. Left click pala, sorry. Gumana na? Yung mga PC users, kamusta? Okay ba? Paki-chat nga, guys. Paki-chat sa akin kung kung okay o hindi para so that I know.
Okay po.
Okay, mga PC users. Okay, nabawasan tayo. 14 na lang tayo. Kanina, na tayo? 18 na. Guys, kung pwede sana, i-complete yung buong session. Kasi sabi ko nga, mahirap na subject to. So pag mag-miss out kayo, kunyari, ilang minutes lang kayo mag-a-attend, tapos aalis na kayo, baka mahirapan kayo, guys. So I don't want you to be experiencing that thing towards the end. Yung mga Mac users na nagawa ba? Tama ba? Hello? Mac users? Message. Sorry, Ernest, ha? Ernest, are you using Mac? Okay. Sorry, Ernest. I'm not, hindi ko ginagamit yung Mac ngayon. Paki-ano lang guys, paki-google niyo lang kung paano to copy. Ito baka may message. Okay na, Ernest. Anong ginamit mo, Ernest? Yung yung command? Yung ibang Mac users, feedback please. Wala tayong feedback. Okay, anyway guys, if you were not able to figure that out, ano yun na lang mamaya, i-google nyo na lang. Madali lang naman yan, no? It's quite easy just to copy. We're just copying, right-click, then move or copy. Yung shortcut yung sinasabi natin, Ernest, no? Kasi yung right-click na to, yung ginawa ni Ernest, ganito. Right-click daw, then move or copy. No, hindi yun. Shortcut. Shortcut yung inano natin. Press control, tapos ganyan, Ernest, no? Nadoble na. Control. And then, yan, no? Kita mo yan, Ernest, yan. Dapat may lumabas na parang ganyan yung plus na worksheet para makopy natin. Alright, sige. Punta na tayo guys ito. Okay, first, we're going to learn also Excel in the first 2 weeks lang in order to do regression. And then please don't forget to download for your assignment, guys. Please download the real statistics as an add-in to Excel. Okay, let's do descriptive statistics for this. How do you do descriptive statistics for this? Pag descriptive statistics, di ba, from your introductory stat, you compute for the mean, median mode, skewness, kurtosis, confidence interval, etc., etc., etc. So how do you do that in Excel automatically? We're not going to do that individually. So what you do there is just go to the place where you want to have the descriptive statistics generated. So we go here, and then go to data. And then data analysis. Okay? Meron ba kayong data analysis, guys?
Meron, sir.
Okay. Sino walang data analysis? Okay, good. Wala. All right. Once you click data analysis, guys, andito, there are several statistical tools that are available. May ANOVA, correlation, covariance, okay, exponential smoothing, t-test, z-test, etc. Pero konti lang siya, guys, no? Konti lang. Kaya that's why we're not limiting ourselves to the use of Excel. There's an add-in which I mentioned to you a while ago, yung real Excel statistics. Pag dinownload natin yun sa sa Excel natin, 4-fold, 5-fold ng dami nito. Mas marami siyang mga functions. All right, so let's choose descriptive statistics. Then okay.
Sir, wait,
Yeah, okay, sige.
wala akong data analysis sa akin.
Wala kang data analysis?
Yeah.
Under data? Okay. Yung mga wala, guys, so go to file. File muna. Okay. Aki, was that you? Aki?
Yeah.
Ikaw ba yan? Sige. So file, tapos guys, dito options. So kindly tell me kung nakasunod kayo.
Yes po.
Okay, options. And then after options, guys, ito. Kita nito, Excel options. Add-ins. Okay. Add-ins. Aki, okay?
Yes po.
Okay, once you have this, yung add-ins, na-click mo na, lalabas sa ilalim yung manage Excel add-ins. This one. Okay, and then go. Okay?
Yes.
And then, dyan, pakiclick yung analysis toolpath.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Then okay lang. While I'm here, guys, take note, dito may additional ako, no, yung XReal stat. Okay, I expect you guys to have that by downloading dun sa URL na binigay ko sa inyo. Kasi this will make our analysis toolpath much more powerful. Okay, wala kayong XReal stats pa kasi hindi nyo pa nada-download yun. But kindly download that. So, click OK. All right, then go back to your data. Then you should have now your data analysis.
It's showing up po, sir.
Okay, thank you, Aki. Okay, any other questions? Appreciate, Aki, your question. Guys, salamat. Sana ganun tayo kasi we're not running a marathon here. Gusto ko na sabay-sabay tayo. Huwag kayo mahihiya, guys, magtanong. I'll appreciate that. Yes, may nagtatanong ba?
Descriptive stats po ba yung pipindutin?
Yes, oo. Sige i-ano ko data analysis and then descriptive stat, guys. Descriptive statistics. Then okay. Yan. Alright? So, yes.
Sir, hindi ko ma-download kasi walang option sa Mac.
Wait. Sa Mac, iba nga pala sa Mac. Teka muna. Sa Mac, hindi ko kabisado. Pakicheck yung data.
Okay, sir.
Yung, di ba may drop down din ng data sa ano?
Meron, sir.
Meron bang Excel add-ins dyan? Meron ba under data or saan ba yun?
Insert, tapos add.
Insert, no? Insert pala. Sa insert, tapos add-ins. Yun ang sa Mac, no? Sorry, iba yung sa interface ng Mac. And then, yung analysis toolpath.
Walang ganun, sir.
Ano lang meron sa Mac?
Get add-ins or my add-ins.
So, if you click that, what happens?
May mag-load.
Okay.
Tapos, may mga download na packages. Ay, mga... Pero walang data analysis.
Walang data analysis. Okay. Anong version ng Mac yan? Latest naman siguro, no? Kasi matagal na yung data analysis eh. Ganito na. So, who's this?
Ali.
Ali. Oo. Ali, pwedeng paki-research na muna, ha?
Okay, sir.
Paki-Google mamaya how to download yung data analysis toolpack sa Mac Excel, no?
Okay,
I'm
sir.
sure marami niya. Kasi I've encountered that before. Maraming students na nagsabi din sa akin ng ganyan. Pero they were able to do that, no?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
In the meantime, tingnan mo na muna yung gagawin natin. Anyway, naka-record din naman to. Then follow along na lang muna, ha?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ali. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, sige. Alright, so this is now your interface for descriptive statistics, guys. Input range natin, okay, ang isasama natin sa papagawa natin ng descriptive stats, si weekly ads at saka si weekly sales. Okay, isama nyo guys yung sama nyo yung header, no? Control Shift down arrow. Okay, so alright, so highlight nyo natin guys sa A1 to B191. Okay, naka-highlight na. And
Yes.
group by columns tayo, no? Yung data natin naka-columns. And then we have to click this labels in first row kasi may labels tayo. Okay. Now, saan natin ipapalagay yung output natin? Okay, it can be in a new worksheet or new workbook. We don't want that. Ilagay na lang natin dito sa paki-click yung output range. Okay, and then you see this spreadsheet icon. Huh? So paki-click si output range, click this spreadsheet icon, tapos link na lang natin dito. Let's ask Excel to put the descriptive statistics here. Okay, then click that back. Okay, are you okay, guys?
Yes.
Okay, then we click summary statistics. And you can also wish to, you can click here confidence level for the mean. Okay, 95%. Tapos wag na yung kth largest and kth smallest. Wag na. Okay, are you ready guys? Okay? Okay. Oops. Wait We'll overwrite existing data kasi bababa siya, no? Okay, sandali Cancel ko muna. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, ganun ba lumabas sa inyo guys?
Yes po.
Okay, ibaba na lang natin to muna, guys. Just pull this down. Yan. Pinull down ko lang siya, guys, para may enough space dito. Parang sobra-sobra na nga ito. Anyway, just pull that, yung number 2 down, guys. Okay, so that there's enough space here for your descriptive statistics. So going back to data analysis, descriptive stat. Okay, any questions, guys?
How do I pull it down?
How do you pull it down? Okay, ganito lang. Highlight mo lang siya. Mac ba yan?
Windows po.
Windows. Highlight mo lang. Okay. And then, left click. Nakita mo yung crosshair na yan, yung arrow na yan.
Yes po.
Just drag it down. Yan. Yan, para mabilis. Okay? Okay ba? Ayaw?
Kapag kiniklik ko siya, nawawala lang yun.
Nawawala? Ganito. Aki, is that you?
Gumana na.
Gumana na. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Aki, is that you?
Yes, sir. Yes po.
Aki, I appreciate yung mga questions na ganyan, guys. Thank you, Aki, for asking that question. Okay, so let's now go back to our model, data analysis, and then descriptive statistics. Same input range from A1 up to B191, grouped by columns, labels in first row. And then F5 pa rin, okay? Then okay na tayo. Click OK. Yan. Layo naman, ano? Babalik na lang natin mamaya yung pinull down natin. All right. So, ito na guys. Ito na yung ano natin. Now, ito na guys yung mga descriptive statistics natin. Let me just increase this. Bold ko. Takyan natin ng konti para makita. Then we will just format this output a bit. Now, what do you notice guys? Yung generate ni Excel. Mean, standard error, median, modes, sample deviation, variance, etc. No? Confidence interval. Okay? Notice that, ano na notice natin? Pareho lang to at saka ito, no? Tama ba guys? Pareho lang? Hello? Pareho lang?
Same lang, sir.
Same lang, ano? So, ang gawin natin, ayusin natin to, drag natin to dito, drag natin, delete natin to, para isa lang yung label natin, tapos, ito, i-drag natin dito, para side by side siya. Yan, sige, pause muna ako. Okay, questions, guys?
None, sir.
None. Okay, so a quick review, guys, gawin na lang natin 2 decimal places, yung mga pwedeng 2 decimal places. Ito siguro. Ito. Huwag na yung maximum and minimum. Pwede. Dito na lang. I just reformatted it, guys. Yan. All right. Any questions so far? Okay, now please guys, this is not a subject in introductory statistics. Paki-review guys yung ano yung what's mean, what's standard error, okay? What is median, what is mode. Why do you think guys is is the mode here not applicable? Ano ibig sabihin ng mode guys? Class, what's the meaning of mode?
Sir, yung umuulit na number.
Yes,
number.
yung correct. Yung pinakamaraming frequency, di ba? Right? Tama ba?
Yes po, sir. Yes
Okay.
po, sir.
Now, bakit kaya bakit kaya not applicable? Ibig sabihin ba walang lahat siya multimodal, unimodal lang siya or walang magkapareho dito? So kindly kindly we'll go back to this next Wednesday. For the in the interest of time, alamin nyo lang guys kung paano pwedeng may mode ba talaga tong weekly sales. Okay, kasi lalabas ni Excel NA eh. So what does that mean? So this will be, lagay ko dito, assignment. How to get mode. Kasi pag minode, kasi may function na mode, no? Ayan, no? Either mode that multiple, mode, ito yung old name, mode. If you highlight this, I'm trying to get the mode. Okay, bakit kaya NA, no? Nag-NA siya, no? So does that mean that walang mode si weekly sales? Okay, so kindly find that out. Okay, babalikan natin yan next Wednesday. All right, then standard deviation, guys. I'm sure you have met this. What's the formula for standard deviation? Hindi mo na makakapagsulat, guys, kasi hindi ko na set up yung digital pen. What's the formula for standard deviation? Anyone? Okay, standard deviation is the square root of x minus x bar, the summation of x minus x bar squared, okay, over n minus 1 if it's a sample. Okay, so paki-review guys ng ng mga basic formulas na to, standard deviation, variance guys, variance, and then ito, no? For next meeting, before we continue the lesson, I'd like you to explain to me anong ibig sabihin ng kurtosis at saka skewness na to. This is very important for us, especially when we analyze the residuals later on in our model. Okay? So ano ibig sabihin ng kurtosis? Ano ibig sabihin ng skewness? What does that tell us about the data? Because, remember guys, these are descriptive statistics. This gives us information about the distribution of your weekly ad expense and your weekly sales. Then the range is just the difference between your maximum and your minimum. Okay, so this is the highest value for your weekly ads. This is the highest value for your weekly sales, and the minimum for ads and minimum for sales. The difference between the maximum and the minimum is your range. Okay. Then we have your sum. Okay, there's no use. Okay, what's the purpose in getting the sum? No physical interpretation of that. Okay, and then the count. What's the meaning of the count, guys? What's the meaning of the count, guys?
Kung ilan po yung values.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Sino yan, guys? Sino?
Si Angelo po.
Angelo, salamat ha. Pag nag-answer ka, guys, introduce yourself na lang ha, para at least ma-acknowledge ko kayo. Thank you, Angelo. You're correct. This is just the number of observations. Ilan ba yung data set natin? And then 190 lahat yung data natin, no? If you go down, 191 siya, excluding the header, so that's 190. So that's the count. Okay, and then the confidence interval, confidence level, what's this? What's the meaning of this, guys? Yung confidence level na yan? That's the confidence level of what? Okay, alamin din ha. Okay, so medyo may mga konting, a little assignment kayo. No? What's the implication of that? Okay, pati itong standard error. No? Okay, I'm putting here a question mark so that I know what I'll be asking you to discuss. Okay. All right. So let me just pull this up again. Okay, we have time to do this. Now, we'd like to determine whether there are outliers. It's important, guys, when you analyze data, we'd like to know if there are data points that are outliers. Okay, later on, we're going to discuss outliers can be leverage points or influential points. Okay, very critical sa atin malaman kung ano yung mga influential points ng data set natin. In the meantime, guys, ang gagawin natin, we're going to look for the first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile of your data. Okay, if you recall in your stat, we can split your data into 4 quartiles. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile. Okay, and the one above that. No? So how do we compute for the quartile in R? What's another name for what's quartile 1 equivalent to? What percentile is that? Class? Quartile 1 is equivalent to
25%.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Who's that?
Kate Bato po.
Kate, thank you. Q1, guys, or quartile 1 is the same as percentile 25. Huh? Okay. So how do we do this? So we're going to, we would like to know what's the first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile. Okay, so let's do that. I'll just compute for one and then I'll leave you to, okay. So there are two here, quartile excluding and quartile inclusive. So let's just use the old, kasi may distinction na ginawa si Excel on exclusive and inclusive. So let's just first use the quartile, old function. Okay. Array. Which array? Okay, so for weekly sales, we highlight that. Okay. And then you have to know, guys, how to make use of relative references. I will assume that you know that. I will assume that you have already taken that up before. Kung may questions kayo, sige, tapusin ko lang to kasi magta-time na, no? And I will need to quickly talk to the other students. Okay, so we have to fix the row. Okay, so how do you fix the row? $8.2 to $8.191 para hindi siya aalis dyan sa row na yan. Okay, and then comma. And then, ano daw? 1, 2, 3, no? 1. There. Tapos dapat naka-fix yung column. Okay? With this, guys, pag ganito yung formula natin, Control Enter, and then you can copy there. Okay, so that's the first quartile. Okay, let me just take note that we ended here. No? Okay, so I'll need, guys, I have a few minutes with the other class. So next meeting, guys, itutuloy natin to. We're going to continue this. Hopefully, ang target natin by by Monday next week, medyo matapos na natin up to this one. No? So we're going to continue working on this one. Okay, this one, 2B, 2C, and then this one, and then yung SSR, SSE. This is all about linear regression. Okay, any questions so far, guys?
Sir, paano po nakuha ulit yung weekly sales?
Okay, sige. Flash ko lang yung formula. Ha? Yung sa weekly ads, dapat ganyan yung formula natin. Tapos i-copy lang natin to the right and then below.
Sir, bakit po siya may dollar sign? Sa...
Yeah, sige. Explain ko yung next meeting, ha? Explain ko kung bakit natin linalagyan ng dollar sign. Kasi pag hindi natin lagyan ng dollar sign, lalagyan natin yan ng bawat isang cell, lalagyan natin ng formula. I'll explain next meeting kung medyo i-research rin guys kung ano ibig sabihin ng linalagyan ng dollar yung row. For example, ito A2, $2. Ibig sabihin, kung sino man yung sinusundan ng dollar, yun ang naaapektuhan. Okay? Ibig sabihin nitong $2, $191, naka-fix si row 2 hanggang row 91. Okay? Ito naman si $F28, naka-fix si column F. Ibig sabihin, hindi aalis yan pag kinapin natin yung formula hanggang lagi siya naka column F. Okay, tingnan nyo ito For example, for this one, tingnan nyo, nasa column F pa rin siya, no? Tapos yung kay row 2 up to row 91, hindi din siya umalis. Nasa row 2 up to row 191 pa rin siya. Okay? So ano lang yan, parang ano lang siya, quick insight. But I'll explain this in greater detail next time. So pakisagot na rin to guys. Pakisagot na rin din to yung lower whisker. Ano yung formula ng lower whisker if you recall guys? Pati yung upper whisker. Ano formula niyan? Nakalimutan nyo?
Yes, nakalimutan.
It's Q1 minus 1.5 Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. Okay, paki-recall ng konti ng stat, ha? Upper naman Q3 plus. So this is Q3 plus. Yan. Okay. So what's IQR? IQR is Q3 minus Q1. Okay. Okay, it's already time guys. So my apologies, naka-exactong 2:15 medyo okay, so those of you who were under me, you may go now. I'll just quickly talk to the students who were not under me last time. Okay? So thank you lahat sa inyo guys, except for those who were not under me. Very quick lang, no? Very quick lang.
Sir.
Sige, bye-bye,
Thank you,
bye-bye. Sige, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, yung mga hindi ko students last term, okay? Siguro magpapadala na rin din ako ng message especially for you. Tapos you need to download R. Okay, you need to download R sa laptop nyo o sa PC nyo at saka yung R Studio, no? You also need to download R and R Studio. Ito yung R Studio. Okay, magpapadala na lang ako ng instructions. Okay, and then from there guys, medyo mag-view na kayo. Maraming videos naman sa tutorial sa internet on how to navigate through R and R Studio. Ang gagamitin natin guys yung R Studio. But you need to download R first and then R Studio kasi R Studio will not work without R. Okay? Okay guys?
Okay po, sir.
Sige, na lang hindi naman kayo makukulangan ng information. Ang daming tutorials, ang daming instruction manuals on how to download R. Una guys, download R, and then after downloading R, download R Studio. Then after that guys, na lang mag-view kayo ng mga videos, simple tutorials on how to make use R, particularly R Studio kasi yun ang gagamitin natin. But of course, it pays also to know how yung simple use ng R. Pero R Studio talagang gagamitin natin. Okay?
Okay po, sir.
Okay, salamat guys ha. Welcome to
Thank
the
you po.
class.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
excited.
sir.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Excited to be with you this next cool term. See you.